scarab beetle crawls upon its face. Now here we have an interesting figure. It looks to be a child robot that's of African ethnicity. Something very interesting happens here. There is what appears to be a bow of remembrance tied around the child to help him or her remember something in particular. But this parental figure, this male figure that has the skull and crossbones upon his arm, is removing that. So just like we saw the figure of the girl in the white dress drop the apple as she fell asleep, we have this child having its lessons or memory withheld or taken from it, perhaps the youth not being taught the lessons that they need to have been taught, that knowledge not being passed or remembered by the next generation. The child's lights flash in its eyes, and it's got an assault rifle, so that could imply race war, perhaps, or maybe just generally continued strife in the third world. We have here another lotus flower. This one is floating upon a river of scum, and as I said before, the lotus flower represents the rebirth of the sun, or in a sense a new world order, or a world order or governmental system. A lotus flower floating on a river of scum would represent a system being done away with. Okay, so let's continue on. And here we have the system being done away with, communism. Albert Pike's letter specifically stated that communism and Christianity would be done away with simultaneously, and that also the same is implied for Islam. So we see all three of those now represented as being persecuted or being just being washed away with the chaos. This particular man looks to be of Latino origin, I believe. He's got a tattoo on his arm that some have told me is specifically a Latino type of tattoo. And there is quite a bit of socialism and communism in Latin America. So the hammer and sickle carries that forward as well. Here we have the protesting girl that shows aggression against the powers that be and their controlling systems, and she is met with death and is silenced. The idea here is that if you fight this system and you stand up against it, you will be done away with. She is standing against the destruction of the planet with through radiological means here, with her symbol on her face, and she acts according to what is in her heart, with the heart that's on her left cheek. And here we have the mystical Christ figure in a trance state, still in the trance state. And here you can very clearly see the capstone without the eye in it, as I had said earlier. And here's the sorcerer continuing his manipulation. Okay, this is interesting here. We have what appears to be the mystical Christ in spirit form out of his body in his trance state, issuing forth fire from his mouth. In ancient culture, fire, particularly ancient Eastern culture, Middle Eastern, fire from the mouth represents truth being told, because truth burns up lies. So let's continue on. The fire engulfs what appears to be a pineal gland and activates it. It begins to glow. The Christ figure proceeds on the boat, and you can clearly see his head and his entire body illumined, but his head in particular directly in front of the pineal gland. And you saw the lightning also, or the electricity going to the Christ figure as if he were being activated or turned on or awakened into this world. My interpretation of the pineal gland is reiterated here when you look at this bird's eye view of this tunnel. It appears in the shape of a human body, where you have a kind of divided human head here, which would represent the two hemispheres of the brain, which are united and balanced by the function of the pineal gland here being activated, or unity being established. So let's continue on. We also have these triangular figures with light issuing out of them. So this is a tunnel of illumination. And in the ancient mysteries, initiation would be performed often in caves and in tunnels. And here we have what appears to be, I would say that this is Shiva, but Shiva is typically a male figure, and the male figures don't have the dots on their forehead. So this might be Kali, actually. But see, she actually that figure actually dances, which leads me again to think that it's Shiva, because Shiva, in one of his earthly forms, is the Lord of the dance. So let's go on. Here we have the fish jumping into the boat, the Piscean fish coming after what they perceive to be their Messiah or their Savior, who closes his eyes to them. They jump out of the water where they can live into the air in the boat where they will die. They are seeking a Messiah or a Savior, but this mystical Christ is not a leader. He is not one to be followed or who seeks to be a leader. So these fish come after him in their fashion in vain. And here we have something else that's interesting. The male figure in ice with an erect phallus, which is actually a lighthouse. And actually in Satanism, I'm talking Levian Satanism, there are ages referred to as ice ages and fire ages. Ice ages are associated with periods of repression of desires, perhaps even repression of thought, just repression or suppression in general of human nature, whereas fire ages are periods where those things are fulfilled in culture. So what we have here is the frozen figure of repressed desire. And a hand comes out of the heavens and shines light upon the top of the lighthouse, which is a beacon. And there's someone in the lighthouse. Let's see who that is. Okay, we have the symbol of Christianity, the cross, upon the top of the phallus lighthouse. We also have a beacon of love. She's sending the inhabitant of this tower is an old female who is sending out